What's up, you guys? If you're new, my name's Cassandra. Today I am working on making some jams. I have 2 jams I want to get done today. We did some prep work for it yesterday, just pulling some produce and stuff out of the freezers, either from my garden or from the store or from even some of my family's gardens where we trade and things back and forth. So we're making a Christmas jam today. We're also making a strawberry rhubarb jam today. My kitchen is still overflowing from last night. Just laid the baby down, so while she's napping, I'm hoping that I can get at least the stuff started, loaded into jars possibly. So I've got 1 pot up on the stove. I'm gonna get my Dutch oven. I'm gonna get both the ingredients, everything ready to go, cooking down in both of my pots on the stove. While those are cooking down, we're gonna unload, reload the dishwasher, grab our pectin, our jars, and kind of get all that stuff going while the jam is cooking it down, making the most out of my time in the kitchen. So that's the plan for today. These are going to be handed out as Christmas gifts, either to neighbors, friends, family, and then I also have a second day where I'm going to make like some salted caramel, some barbecue sauces, and I have a beer mustard I want to do, and also some coffee creamer I'm really excited about. So lots of things happening. Canning season, even though garden season's over, canning season is not over yet. So here we go. Let's head into canning in November. This is going to be our strawberry rhubarb jam. So that is actually almost exactly 3 cups of strawberries. I'm going to get that in there. We also need 2 cups of rhubarb. This is from my sister-in-law. She pre-measured these for me, so this is exactly 2 cups. So I'm going to get that dumped in here as well. I've only made jams or jellies once, well, twice before, so it's not something I'm very familiar with. So I'm gonna read over the instructions just one more time. I'm going to mash it just a hair and just let this cook down a little bit. Now, the recipe for this Christmas jam says to put it in a food processor first, but I have a love-hate relationship with my food processor, so I would rather just cook it down a little bit longer, smash it down a little bit more. So that's what I'm gonna do with this one. I'm just letting this cook down. My strawberry rhubarb jam is actually looking really good. I actually just went ahead and decided to bring up my whole food storage for sugar because we're going to be using a lot of it right now. So I'm actually going to put 3 cups in here because I'm only having this recipe. I forgot about that. So 1, 2, 3 and a half. I'm going to switch out my utensil. I'm very excited about this jam. It looks fantastic. I've never made this one before. I've never even tasted it before, actually. So I'm only gonna put in half of this because once again, we are having this recipe. So while this comes back up to a little bit of a boil here, I'm gonna finish prepping my jars. So the thing is, I have a really great problem to have, and that's that I'm kind of running out of jars at this point in the season. I am working with kind of jars that we've already eaten through and washing and then getting some back up on the shelf. This is the year I have definitely put up the most amount of jars ever. I've had to go to the store multiple times and get more and more and more jars, which is always a great problem to have because I'm proving to myself that I am gaining a lot of skills. So I kind of had to search around. In my basement and find jars that I had because I knew I wanted to use some smaller size jars for these to be able to give out as gifts. I just wanted to have more jars available to hand out versus putting them in pints, which I definitely could have, but wanted to find small ones. So I found some, washed them up, got the cranberries in my Dutch oven with the strawberries to start kind of cooking down a little bit while we were finishing off our strawberry rhubarb jam, and just kind of getting things all up on the stove and taken care of here, which is always a really good thing. Just kind of following the instructions here. I talk about this later in the video, but I've always been kind of intimidated when it comes to jams and jellies. There's something about the pectin that always freaked me out, and like the math and the ratios. I'm telling you guys, if you are nervous about it like I was, just get everything dumped into the pot. Even if it doesn't set up, you can always use it as a spread on ice cream or something, so there's always ways to use it. So I don't mind if this one stays just a hair chunky, but let's get our strawberry jam loaded into some jars, and then we can get our canner up on the stove where this jam is. I'm throwing my spices in here. It does call for cloves. I don't have cloves, so I'm throwing in half of a teaspoon, so 1/4 of a teaspoon. I keep forgetting that I'm having this recipe. I'm also throwing in 1/4 a teaspoon of allspice. I'm going to be very careful with this metal masher in my Dutch oven. I'm not going to like swirl it or anything. I'm just going to go literally up and down. I'm going to be very gentle with it. If I were watching somebody do this on YouTube in their Dutch oven, I would have a panic attack. So I'm just saying that so you don't have to panic for me. I think I'm going to leave this Christmas jam a little bit chunky. I envision myself eating this on crackers with like a soft cheese or something. So I kind of want to leave it a little chunky. So I'm actually very happy that I did not put this in my food processor. I'm going to continue to let this cook down a little bit just with all of those spices before I add in my pectin and my sugar. So this recipe calls for 4 pounds of sugar, but because we're having it, we're only putting in 2 pounds, which still sounds completely insane. So we're gonna see how that goes. But our strawberry rhubarb jam is good to go. My jars are washed, so we're gonna start loading this in while our Christmas jam just kind of continues to cook down a little bit. I just have a variety of sizes here, so we're just gonna pull out a variety. That way we can keep it kind of mishmashed a little bit between the two jams. That Christmas jam, I'm gonna say something really dumb right now, smells like Christmas. Kind of what you would expect it to smell like, hey, but oh my, it just smells delicious. I am going to see if I can get both jams loaded into just one canner. They have to can for the same amount of time, 10 minutes. So I'm going to see if I can fit them all in one canner. But if I have to do 2 separate batches, then that's what I'll do. They're so beautiful, and I'm very excited because I only have, I think, 4 jars of jam left on my shelf from the canning that I did this spring with some blackberries. So I'm excited to get something a little bit different on the shelf. Love it when that happens. Okay, I'm gonna get every last drop I can. I'm just doing the usual here, wiping the rims, getting our lids on, our rings on, and setting them aside so that I can refill my next round of jars with our Christmas jam in the same spot here on my cutting board. I don't think I'm going to be able to tell the difference between the cranberry and the Christmas jam and then my strawberry rhubarb. So I'm actually going to just label them before I put them in the canner. I didn't know that you could do that, but I watched, maybe it was Becky from An Acre Homestead do this, and I'm like, that's genius. I'm going to do that. So that's what I'm going to do. Set these aside. And we are just about ready to load in our next round of jars. So I'm just finishing off our Christmas jam here, and it's really good, you guys. I was kind of hesitant about it because cranberries aren't really my favorite, but I think that this has inspired me to make other things like some cranberry applesauce. I'm actually making that right now as I'm doing this voiceover, and I'm very excited to show you guys. That video is going to be coming up as well, but it did inspire me to kind of get creative and find some other recipes. So I'm just adding in our sugar and our pectin, trying to remind myself that I'm having this recipe just because I ran out of strawberries. But I think having this recipe actually worked out for the better. I don't think that I would have needed to do a full recipe because, I mean, look at all the jars I have here with just a half recipe. So I think that it worked out for the best, but just doing the same thing, filling the jars, wiping the rims, getting them loaded and ready to get into our canner. We're getting a lot more Christmas jam than we did, well, not a lot more, but an extra jar or 2 of Christmas jam versus the strawberry rhubarb, which is to be expected. It's a little bit of a bigger recipe, but I am very excited. I did give this a little bit of a taste. I licked my wooden spoon there, and it is fantastic. I'm very excited about it. I love how bright in color it is, how beautiful it is. So I'm very excited about this. I'm gonna get my jars wiped off, our rings and lids on, and then we'll be able to load them in the water bath canner and get them canning. And then just like that, I have some really great, easy, beautiful Christmas gifts to hand out, jam for the shelf for my family as well. And I actually got more than I expected. So I did. I got 2 more jars out of the Christmas jam than I did the strawberry rhubarb. But like I said, mixed jar sizes a little bit here, a couple different options, which I'm excited about. I wanted to have different sized options, some for my family, some to give away. So I'm happy that I was able to make it work with my mishmash jar situation that I have going on. I rinse my pots right away and everything I use to make this jam, and get those washed off right away because they will stick like nobody's business. I do have some plans for the tomatoes in my freezer. I want to make a crock pot tomato soup. I think I saw that on Instagram somewhere with some of my frozen tomatoes. I'm gonna do that next week sometime while the kids are home for fall break or Thanksgiving break. I figured we could do that with some grilled cheese. Always a hit here, so in the morning I'll just dump that in the crock pot and then it'll be ready by lunchtime. It doesn't take much time at all. We're gonna be making a sweet and sour barbecue sauce, a regular barbecue sauce, and then I'm kind of debating if I should make a rhubarb, like a Victorian style barbecue sauce that's in my canning cookbook. I'm kind of playing around with that, but how much barbecue sauce do I really need to make in 1 year? So I'm kind of leaning off of that, and then maybe I'll just make, I don't know, I'll figure out something. But always a good problem to have, right, when you have to figure out what you need to make because you have too much of something. So what a problem to have. I am going to rinse out all of my equipment here, get things sort of picked up a little bit while I wait for these to go. It's lunchtime, so I'm gonna serve myself some lunch, my son some lunch, wait for the baby to wake up, and then hopefully by then it'll be time to pull our jars out. We'll be able to get those set up. I am so excited that I took time to do this today. It took me about an hour, which is a lot less time than I was anticipating it to be. I don't know why, but canning jellies and jams and stuff has always been intimidating to me. It's something about the pectin that kind of freaked me out, but it's so simple and so easy. So I'm really happy that I took the time to do this today. I got way more than I anticipated, so very excited about that. Knocked something else off of the list, got something out of the freezer and onto the shelf. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me today in my homestead kitchen, making some homemade Christmas presents to be able to hand out to loved ones and family, neighbors, friends, all of the things. I will leave both of these recipes down below for you guys if you want to use what I used. Right now, I can't tell. I did taste both jams. I could not pick which one is my favorite. They are both so good. I'm very excited to be able to crack these open. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
Everybody just do your thing. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.